We're going to get started here. And the session is now being recorded. Welcome to Project for the Web for Contract Managers, how Microsoft just made the power of project more accessible. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Just a few logistics as we get started with the webinar today. For housekeeping purposes, your participation is welcome in the webinar. We ask that you provide your questions via the interface. And so please enter your question into that box, and then we will be moderating the call, and other moderators on the call will be bringing your questions to my attention. Now feel free to ask questions as we go. And this is a copyrighted webinar, which is the property of Innovative E Incorporated. I'm Brian Quick, Director of Sales for Innovative E. I'll also be joined by Mike Taylor, President of Innovative E, and we have Pamela Melville moderating behind the scenes here for today's webinar. So what is Project for the Web? Besides just a brand new logo, Project for the Web is a new, easy-to-use project management tool that's geared toward everyday project managers. And it's built on the Microsoft Power Platform, the same platform that has Power BI, Microsoft Flow, and Power Apps built into it. Some of you may be familiar with Power BI as a tool that's used for analytics and executive dashboarding. It's easy to use, and it makes it easy for folks to create and edit and share dashboards. Microsoft Flow is a tool that makes it easy for you to interact between one tool and another and create easy to use workflow and make transactions between systems. And Power Apps is a way for you to build your custom apps using low-code solutions so that you can create new and exciting experiences for your customers and your employees without ever having to do any custom development. And that the power of this whole scenario is that because Microsoft Project is now built into the Power Platform, that it's more easily extendable and can be leveraged with the overall power of the Office 365 platform for analytics, workflow, and custom interactions. We're all very excited about it. And those of you that have been using project management tools with Microsoft for a while know that there's been a gap between simple task management in Excel and Planner and more enterprise custom, PPM solutions using Project Online, Professional, and Premium, and Microsoft Project on the desktop. What's been left really out of the scenario is occasional or everyday project management. So those of us that are not versed in project management that maybe find Microsoft Project to be a little bit heavy as a tool, and they need something simpler so they can get started quickly and be able to collaborate with folks on an everyday basis in their organization. They just want to get things done, and that's what Project for the Web really brings to the table. Some of you may be familiar with Microsoft Planner as a simple task management tool within Office 365. It was released a few years ago, and it's been very, very popular. As a matter of fact, Planner is the most added app to Teams. So if you're using Teams, it makes sense that you'd have a simple task list that you want to maintain for some work that you want to put some structure around. Microsoft Planner has been a great option for that. But some of the things that people have been asking about from Planner are, hey, wouldn't it be great if we had a Gantt chart view? Or how do I make subtasks in Planner? But overarching, Planner is not a project management tool. It's not, it doesn't have a scheduling engine behind it. So when things push out, other things you don't see the effect on downstream areas of the project plan. So you can't have dependency relationships and stuff, for example. And that's what really Project for the Web is designed to do. And so if you take a look at modern work management, trying to capture all this structured and unstructured work that's going on throughout an organization, if you look at it in terms of kind of a maturity model going left to right, individuals and work groups need to get things done, but they do it in a less structured way. So they're just trying to improve team productivity. They're maybe just trying to get some visibility into work and projects and figure out who's doing what. And as we sort of move up the scale here into project-driven teams, we need some flexibility to replace and swap projects. And then as we get to kind of a more high complexity PPM or an organized project management office, we want to align projects to strategies, and we want to measure benefits and compliance. So Microsoft wants to kind of cover the gamut here in terms of project and work management, from the simple individuals and work groups all the way up to highly complex PPM solutions. And really, Project for the Web is designed to do kind of the lower end of this, if you will. And so as you increase your work and your project complexity, you're going to need more formal governance and solutions. And so the tool sets that Microsoft provides for this are, of course, at a basic level, maybe if you're working in a team and you need to just get things done, it's not very structured, you might be using Microsoft Teams. And then you might want to get into Microsoft Planner or Project for the Web to sort of lend a little bit more organization to those activities. Then you might look at things like the Power Platform to try to build additional solutions around that stuff. You might want to create some simple workflow or have some basic reporting in Power BI. That's the power of that Power Platform. And then you might want to have some integration with third-party apps, or you might want to do some custom development in order to get these things done. And all those things, really from left to right, are the matching tool sets that Microsoft provides for the different maturity levels. We have Mike Taylor from Innovative E on the call today. Mike, do you have any additional perspective to add to this slide?
Yeah, Brian, this is great. Essentially what you're telling us here is that really the Power Platform allows for an end-to-end solution, kind of meeting that gap where people can do things out of the box. They may only need a certain level of maturity if it's a small work group or a fairly unstructured or non-complex solution, but you can take the same platform and you can continue to extend it on up to as complicated as the work actually dictates.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. And really, it's a paradigm shift in Microsoft, because what we're looking at here is, yeah, we've had a PPM solution in the past, Project Online, but now the platform is the PPM solution. And so what they're doing here is they're making it very extendable, and they're using the power of the platform to capture that work, capture those tasks, and help people get things done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and that's really what Innovative E has decided that they're going to be doing, that we're going to be doing going forward, is empowering individuals and groups with work management freedom so they can use the tools they want while providing unparalleled executive and enterprise visibility, agility, and control. So we want folks to be able to use the tool that they feel most comfortable with, but then we'll do the legwork and the heavy lifting and capturing that activity and rolling it up to overall reporting, so that executives can get the visibility that they need, and enterprises can basically be compliant. They can track the costs, they can track the resources, they can track all those things that they need to worry about, but the folks on the ground are just worrying about basically, how do I get this thing done? And so that's a really powerful concept. But today's webinar is more about specifically contract management. So there's a lot of different areas that Microsoft feels that this Project for the Web tool could play in. We've opened up a poll right now so that you can go ahead and let us know, what are your biggest contract management challenges? So go ahead and just enter them into the screen there. And we also have some basic ones that we've put in here, some challenges that we think will resonate with folks. But let us know what you think about the challenges that you're facing. So I see some folks agree that contract management processes being separated from other systems are a potential challenge, and then I see that limited visibility is also coming through as a potential challenge. So we'll just give it a few more seconds so you guys can input your thoughts on that. And some of the things that we've seen are definitely limited visibility and timelines or budgets being exceeded as part of the contract process, lack of skilled resources, change management is always an issue, and contract management process being separated from other systems. Like you have to go somewhere else to do contract management, which is not always convenient and conducive to getting things done. But we're happy to report that, from our assessment, and we'll take a look at some of these things today, that all of these things can be addressed in part or entirely by using Project for the Web. So we're going to increase the visibility to things that are getting done. We're going to make sure that timelines, not so much budgets, maybe a little bit, but timelines for sure are not exceeded, and that the dates are being tracked appropriately. We're going to take a look at the lack of skilled resources issue in terms of we're going to be assigning folks tasks. We're going to see who's assigned what task. We have some reporting actually that's going to show us availability and things like that. We have some change management we're going to spice in today, and then as well as contract management process being separated from other systems. You'll see a completely integrated solution today with Microsoft Teams. So a lot of folks are spending a lot of time in Office 365 and in Microsoft Teams. What we're going to show today is this is completely integrated and works in concert with that. So that's exciting. So let me just go to demo, and I'm going to switch over to my browser here. Most of you would recognize this screen. This is Office 365. So this is basically my Office 365 internally at Innovative E. And what we have here is the ability to basically go to launch a project. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, Project for the Web is rolling out to organizations globally, and anybody that has an existing Project Online license is going to have a new option called New Blank Project. So I can go ahead and click that. And what that's going to do is it's going to open up a brand new project for me, and with one click, I'm off and running. So I have an untitled project here. All I have to do is give it a title, like contract negotiation process. Maybe a particular customer you want to align that with. I can pick a start date of maybe the 18th, and that's it. Now I can go ahead and start adding new tasks. And as I do this, you'll see how simple and easy it is to use Project for the Web. So I can put maybe perhaps RFP received. And I could put review or create contract. I can say edit contract. I can include, a negotiation phase. I can say that the contract, needs some signatures. And I can say that we need to file this contract in the appropriate places. So very simple stuff. I can then choose what group I want to assign this particular project plan to. So I can create a group called Contract Negotiation Process, and this is connected to Office 365 Modern Groups. I can go ahead and add it to an existing group, maybe called the Innovative E Project Demo Group, which has all my people in it. I can go ahead and add that. And then what you'll see is the ability to assign work to people. So now my whole team is here. I can go ahead and assign certain work to folks. And you can see this is, has obviously, in general, this is very easy to use, very user-friendly. And I can go ahead and assign these out. What I also have the ability to do here is create a duration. So maybe this is going to take, maybe 2 days. This is going to take 3 days. But folks might want to add some other columns here. So I can add, for example, percent complete. I can add, depends on before. And instead of calling it predecessor, we're calling it depends on, because that's more common language, I think. People are more used to that if they're not a professional project manager. I can go ahead and add different columns here, like a start date, for example. And then it's really easy to drag them around and figure out where I want to place things. It makes it comfortable for me to work in this environment. Maybe I prefer to have my duration before my start date, for example. I can add a column for effort if that's going to be different from my duration, like it's going to take me 5 hours to do it, but over 2 days, so to speak. So, and then I have different columns here. One of them is called bucket, and we get to define those buckets. I'll be explaining that in a minute. And then we have, an outline number, which if you want to add some formality to it, it's like, for those of you familiar with a WBS, it's like a work breakdown structure number that I can have associated with this. I like to make mine over on the left a little bit. Now, as far as the tasks are concerned, I have this ellipse, so I can go ahead and click that, and I can open up the details. So I have my start finish. I can include a note, like, for example, RFP received, from Bill on this date, and need to review, whatever you want to put as notes in there. So it's nice to kind of be able to have those notes and share them with others and so forth. And then I have I can change my start finish date here. I have my duration, I have my buckets again, and then my little simple calculation here for effort. So completed work plus remaining equals total. And then I can add a dependency if I wanted to right here in this screen. Let me show you how to add dependencies. So if I want to create contract here, I wanted to add a dependency, there's a couple of ways to do that. Obviously, I could go back into this informational screen. I could add a dependency. It's actually going to recommend one for me that occurred before it. So I can go ahead and click RFP and add that dependency. The other way you could do that is in basically this depends on field. I can go ahead and double click in here, and then it gives me some options for adding dependencies. Or I could have just typed 3 in there, and it would add a dependency that way. I can go ahead and change my % complete if I feel like I'm accomplished something. I can either mark it as complete over here entirely, or I could have just changed my % complete directly in here by just typing 50. Now, one of the cool features here is that you can create the subtasks, which was one of the main asks from Microsoft Planner. So I can go ahead and here it. I can highlight this particular row, and I can say make subtask. So now that's a subtask of the other. I can do the same thing here, make subtask. So now notice also my outline became, has a decimal place, and it has another incrementer after that, number. A couple of other things I can do here is we can basically have a board view. So let me show you the board view. So we have a not started, in progress, and completed. So this is a simple Kanban board. So basically here, I'm showing the ability to move things back and forth. And then I have a timeline. And this timeline basically is a Gantt chart representation of my project plan. But if I have relationships that I want to establish, I can go ahead and establish them visually right here. I can also move things around. I can move this out. I can stretch it out if it's going to take longer than I thought. So very visual, very interactive. There's a zoom in and zoom out feature here as well. But let's go ahead and look at this from the context of Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to switch over here to my Microsoft team. And as you can see, I have a team called Innovative E Project Demo and a channel called Contract Management. So within my Contract Management channel, I have a conversation that's going on, maybe with others in the team, and that's a thread of discussion. I also have files. Maybe I'm working on a particular file. Now, one of the ways that we can basically address some of these challenges in contract management is we can co-author documents right here in Teams. So I have a sample statement of work. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And that opens up this document right here in Teams. So what I'm going to do from there is I'd like to edit this in Teams. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And the document's going to be brought up right here in this interface. I never have to leave Teams, and I never have to go to another system to do this type of stuff. But also notice that there's someone else in this document making edits, and it's Mike. So we're working on this proposal and this contract together. Maybe we need to do some redlining, some things to this contract. I can go ahead and I can change this word well established to integrated. Mike's going to be able to see that change on his side, and I can see the changes that Mike's making in real time. He's changing a sentence up here instead of demonstrate to the word show. And I have a discussion going on here, and I can ping Mike and I can say, hey Mike, agree with your changes. So I'm now back and forth in a thread of discussion with Mike within my Teams channel working on this document. And Mike can reply to me, and basically we have a conversation going on right there. Never had to leave Teams. Now, how does this relate to Microsoft Project? Well, basically, this is all happening within the context of the team channel. There's Mike's reply. I'm going to go ahead and like that. So now I'm going to close the document out, and I might want to check something off on my schedule that we've just completed on that document. So I can go right over here to schedule. I've come up with a really quick contract management schedule plan right here in the context of Teams. And now I might want to mark something as complete, like review contract by both parties, based on the conversation that Mike and I just had. I have a board view here too, and if Mike was working on this with me, and we were both working on the project plan together, I could actually see that he's moved things from not started to in progress. So he went ahead and did that on his side, and I can see that immediately take place here. So we're actually co-authoring the project schedule right here in front of your eyes. We can do that on grid view, timeline view, or board view, and you'll see those changes take place immediately. So it's really nice to be able to collaborate closely on contracts with others, either internally to your organization or on your team. And then I have a timeline view here where we're getting together and we're trying to figure out when are we going to be done with this thing. So different than managing this in Excel or managing it in another tool like Planner that doesn't have the ability to kind of forecast out when you're going to be finished based on the way things are going. The power of Microsoft Project, but the usability really of Planner. Now, some of you may be asking, what about reporting? How do I figure out what's going on in all my contracts? Well, Microsoft's created a Power BI report interface that basically takes all of the contracts that you're working on in your organization and puts them right here into Power BI. Let me just go ahead and refresh that real quick. So now I have a dashboard, and this can say contract dashboard, it can say your logo and your dashboard. It's just an example. But basically, I have all these different projects that I'm working on. They may be contracts, they may be other kind of projects, and I can see them right here at a glance. Who's the project manager, start, finish date, progress. And I have a whole slew of different tabs with different reports on them. Maybe you need a contract management dashboard that shows all the contracts being negotiated in your company and how far along you are and the progress against those plans. Here you have it at a glance. Maybe you have portfolio milestones that you're working on or contract milestone dates that you want to track. Or maybe you need to track who's assigned what across your different contracts that you're managing as a company. So your resources and what are they tasked with and what are their responsibilities within these contract projects? What are their assignments? For example, my assignments across all the different projects and the different ones that I'm working on. You also have a task overview. So what are the different tasks going on these different contracts and which are behind schedule? So there's a whole bunch of reports here that you could use in order to figure out what's going on with your contract projects. And so you can see that we were able to kind of knock a lot of things off that list of contract management challenges just by using a simple Teams in combination with your project for the web and Power BI. Now, if you wanted to do a workflow here and actually reflect your contract management process in a workflow, we would use Microsoft Flow and we would build that out. And some of those conversations or workflow tasks would show up in the conversation tab here, which is kind of a next step that you could get to by leveraging the power of the Power Platform. One other idea I thought I'd show you is something I was working on for a general project plan, but it's an issues list. And that issues list, actually, I created that in Planner. And so when I use Planner as an issues list, you can see that I can add different types of issues, new, open, or closed. I can also move an issue from new to open. I can talk about what's going on with these issues and how can we resolve them. I can create checklists, for example, assign them to other people. Just a real simple, easy to use issues list using the power of Office 365. So just kind of going back to our presentation here. So if you want to learn more about this, Innovative E is a Microsoft Gold partner in project portfolio management, as well as many other areas. We'd love to give you a personalized demonstration for your company. Take a look at what you're doing for contract management or other types of project management related work, and really help you figure out how you could use the power of Microsoft Project for the web, in combination perhaps with Power BI, Flow, Power Apps on Teams, and Project Online, which is more of a traditional project portfolio management solution, to come up with the best way that you can manage contracts in your company, leveraging the Office 365 platform. That's our specialization. We'd love to talk to you about that. So we'd also like to understand what your common challenges are for work management across your company. If there's something there that you're particularly challenged with, for example, coordinating with others, getting out of email, or maybe even just using project management tools with the way that they're intended. Maybe folks need some training, for example. We'd be happy to talk to you about that. We're very excited here at Innovative E about the new changes and potential for the Project for the Web product that was released by Microsoft. And we're all in on making sure that that works for you and that work management in your organization is being done on the Microsoft Office 365 platform. Thank you for your time today, and be sure to answer any of your questions that you have at this time. So Mike, Pamela, were there any other questions that were typed in?
I'm not seeing any questions yet. Maybe we'll give folks a second to see if they want to ask any questions in the panel there. So I did want to just reiterate, so everything that you showed here was pretty much just out of the box, right? With using the Teams and the new Project for the Web and those tools, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no smoke and mirrors here. This is just out of the box. So Project for the Web used with Microsoft Teams. I showed some Office 365 Planner as well as Power BI, and that Power BI content pack which showed the reporting is all available on GitHub for folks to start using today. We'd love to put it together for you. It's kind of a little puzzle. We could put it together for you and figure out how your company would use something similar like that.
Hey, I am seeing a couple questions here, Brian. The first question says, seems to be for waterfall. Does this support Scrum framework like sprints?
Oh, great question. I'd love to address that. So let me just show you a little bit of what I demonstrated in a previous webinar. And it does in fact show and support sprint management. So let me take a look. Let's just take a look at this demo here. So here I have a project plan or schedule. Now this could be a contract management project, or it could be any project really. If I wanted to, I could just make this full screen. And then I have my board view. And one of the ways that I thought it would be good to leverage Agile and Sprint, especially for the business, because really if you're doing Agile and IT, you're going to maybe use a dev tool to do that, like Azure DevOps, for example, which is available from Microsoft. But if you're doing like business Agile, this might be a really great tool for you. Remember those buckets I talked about? If we sort them by bucket, I've created buckets called backlog, Sprint 1, Sprint 2, and Sprint 3. And you can go ahead and add whatever buckets you like, but basically I'm taking all the tasks in the project schedule and they're going into backlog by default. And then I can go ahead and move things in Sprint 1 if I want them to be part of Sprint 1. And then I can mark things as completed as I'm chewing that down. And then I have Sprint 2, so I can add some things over here into Sprint 2. So this is just a simple way where you can manage a backlog with a daily stand-up meeting, move some cards around the screen, and organize things into sprints.
Great. Yeah, we have a few more questions popping in. Here's another one that says, to use Project on the web, do we need to buy Project Online?
Yeah, no, you don't. If you already have Project Online, there are 3 Project Online subscriptions available: Premium, Professional, and Essentials. If you have the Premium and Essentials subscriptions, then you're going to get Project for the Web already. You don't have to do anything else. But if you just want to use Project for the Web by itself, you can order that just by itself. It's called P1, and it's available from your licensed reseller or your Microsoft account team.
Great, thanks. We have actually a comment here from Warren. He says, exciting breakthrough. Not only do contract managers benefit, but managers of projects and programs that depend on contracts can gain visibility into contract status. I think that's right on.
Yeah,
thanks, Warren.
Thanks for the insight there, Warren. I think we've been in some other calls together and in the community for quite a while together, so we appreciate that insight. Thank you. And we agree.
We got a thank you there. I'm not seeing any other questions.
Okay, great. Well, thank you folks for joining us today. This meeting is being recorded. It'll be distributed shortly and posted as well. So thank you again for your time. It's really exciting to get to share these changes with the community at large, and we look forward to working with you. Please contact us at mike.taylor@innovative.com or brian.quick@innovative.com, or give us a call, and we'd be happy to talk to you about how we can put this to work for you. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.